Hello and welcome. My name is Greg Hodgkinson, and I was asked by the Currier Ives Dinnerware Collectors Club to do a presentation at this year's convention. We had hoped that I'd be able to do this in person, but alas, that is not the case. So we're trying the next best thing, and that is a video presentation. Specifically, they asked me to do a presentation on my collection of items that were started by Royal China, but finished by somebody else. In this case, Dave and Deb Folckemer. Before we get there, let's look at some of the books that might be useful for any collector looking to collect Royal China. And we're not doing this in any specific order, but we're going to start with this book right here. This is the most recent of the books I have in front of us. This was published in 2015. And it has some really beautiful pictures. What do we got here? First of all, we've got the prints, and then we're talking about all sorts of back stamps, and then, like I said, beautiful pictures. So the photography was really done well here, and not a bad piece of information to have. Next up is this guy right here, a collector's guide for Currier Ives Dinnerware. And this is one I got as a free complimentary copy from the club itself. And I think I also got it with a price guide. This guy is a little bit older. It's all kind of in black and white. But again, I think this is a good source. It's not a complete source, but if you had nothing else, this is the one to get. It's readily available, and actually, I think I've got two of these. One I got from the club, and one I bought myself. Even that one I bought myself is fairly inexpensive. This one I really like. And this is done by Tim, the president of the club. And I think this is going into a second edition, at least as I heard that Tim was in that process. This was done in 2011. And if you do any kind of collecting of recipe pie bakers or platters, this is a fantastic source. I know since this was published, at least one more additional thing was found. So hopefully that'll get included in the second edition, if in fact there is one. I don't know that for sure. And this is my favorite right here. This is the book that Dave and Deb published back in 2005. And this is a fantastic reference. I think this is so good. It gives you a backstory of the company in all its iterations until it was went out of business in 1986. And then they have specific patterns, some of the more popular ones, so Bucks County, Colonial Homestead, and then of course the biggest section is going to be Currier Ives, and there's a lot here. I mean, just an awful lot. And then they have Memory Lane, Fair Oaks, and Curiosity Shop, and the Willows. So this is what you should be looking for. It's hard to find. I've asked about a second edition because, like I said, this was published in 2005. There is not a second edition forthcoming. To self-publish, because that's what they did, it's pretty expensive and time-consuming. So, unfortunately, there'll not be another edition. So, we'll just have to be satisfied with this one. All right, let's get into the collection, okay? All right, so we're gonna start with the Hostess dessert plate. This is the plate that I have the most of Dave and Deb's work. So right now I have on the screen, I've got stuff that Royal did. This is their Hostess dessert plate that everyone got with the set, and nice dark blue. And as we can see on the back, no back stamp, but we do have the USA right there is an imprint. Okay. Then we also have this hostess dessert plate. This is the apple pie. Really kind of cool. And on the back here, we do actually have a back stamp. Now, for those collectors out there, you know this came in 2 versions. The other version, there's no apple pie at the top, which is kind of interesting. And also, the back stamp is different. So, but Royal also did decals. Here's an example of a decal that they did. And it's not so easy. I apologize for the light ring. No back stamp, but there's the USA imprint on that. And then they kept on doing things. So they had sets. This is the ice cream set. It came with 4 of these dessert plates and then a larger platter with the same motif on it. In this case, we have 4 colors: the red, the green, the yellow, and the brown. And there's the back stamp. Put that one right there. And the last dessert plate that I have that Royal made is this one. Now, does anybody recognize this? Do you know what this is about? Well, this is supposed to represent an Amish scene. And it's a Kettle Springs plate. So a lot of the Kettle Springs towards the end of Royal China used this plate, as well as the larger hostess plates. But you didn't come here to see this. So let's get rid of all these guys. And let's give you Dave and Deb's work. And there we are. So this is what they've done in Currier Ives. And they did it in 5 colors. So we have the blue, the pink, green, brown, and black. Now, Royal called their color gray. We know that because on someone has a couple of plates in this color, and they actually have the original box. The box says gray, both in the American version of gray and the English version of gray. But this is black. And there is that wonderful back stamp. So there is the indication. So they used stamps that they had purchased. So they got original stamps, and then they created one so they add that to it. All right, so we have 5 colors, but how many in each set? That's a good question. Let's keep the green in place, and we'll use green as our sample. Mainly because I think the green is the best color of their work. Yes, I know everybody likes the blue, but the green really stands out. So we have Christmas snow. The road winter. The old homestead in winter. That's the inn with the cow in front. This is one of my favorite scenes, preparing for market. And then this is the last one, pasture. So we have 7. 7 in each color. So that means there's a total of 35 out there of these beautiful plates. And again, I think the green is by far and away the best color. Now that back stamp looks brown. I'm gonna grab the blue one. Now that's brown. But on the black one, that's a black stamp. Anyway, so I have 31 of these, so I'm missing a few. They created interesting sets. So what we have here are dessert plates that go with pie bakers. So what they would do is they create a set of 4 of these plates, and then they would add that to a pie baker that they created. Here is the coolest one I have. So for all the American pie series of pie bakers, they created their own using the Hostess set. So they created this. So we have 4 of these dessert plates and a Hostess pie, all done in their motif. And then they went ahead and used the same back stamp that Royal used for this set, and then added the F. And I love this, how colorful this is. It's really gorgeous. So okay, so here are the 4 dessert plates, and here is the pie baker. So again, they used this blank. They didn't have the originals that the All-American pies were used on. So they used this. This is absolutely gorgeous. This and the blueberry were my 2 favorite that Royal did because they were so colorful. And I don't have the blueberry from Dave and Deb, but I do have it on order. And I think that is just gorgeous. So again, I do have the others, so let me show you the others that I do have. Here's the maple walnut. On this one, I only have 1 of the dessert plates. So I'm not sure why I only got 1. I know I'm pretty much said I only wanted 1, but I guess I was early on and I should have gotten the other 3. But here it is. And this might be one of the first ones they did because clearly we're talking just 1 color here. Whereas on the pumpkin pie, we had multiple colors. And there's that wonderful back stamp. So next up is the Wayne County. And this is done in green. Isn't it gorgeous? Pretty plain on the back. And then this detail is amazing, I think. I think the Dave and Dev had issues with doing it on the sides, just like Royal did. They have a small kiln, and I guess there's some issues with keeping it steady and not having it drip down. But they were able to do this edge, which is really wonderful. This is a gorgeous pie baker. Just beautiful. And the last was the armadillo. Now, on this one, I only got 4 plates. The actual pie baker was a real Royal China pie baker. I did not get a pie baker from Dave and Deb that was done by them. All right, so what else do we have? Well, since we just got started into the pie bakers, let's do a pie baker. So the only other pie baker I have is this one. The Getting Ice in green. I've tried to get others. There have been others on the internet and on eBay and such, and I just haven't been able to snag them. This comes in blue, pink. I think I've even seen the black. And there we go. Just your basic. And what's interesting is, again, with their work, their stilt marks are going to be inside the rings. There's one there. There's one there. And then there's one here. Whereas when Royal was doing it, you would find stilt marks out here. So whoever, and there are other people who have done the same thing that Dave and Deb have done, gotten some bisque after they had gone out of business and produced stuff, and you'll find that their stilt marks are going to be on the inside as well. So let's move now to another piece of hostess ware, the candy dish, or if you want, a cereal bowl. Now, there is one out there that's really hard to get, and that's the one that Royal produced for the hostess set. I personally do not have that particular bowl, but I do have a few, not that many, of Dave and Deb's work. In fact, I only have 5 of these guys, and almost all of them are in green, which is kind of cool because I really love this color. It is bright and distinctive. Flip it on the back, and there we have the back stamp with the USA imprint here. There's a stilt mark there, stilt mark here, and one right above the A. Beautiful. Then we have Washington's birthplace. We have the harvest. We have the gate. I have 2 of them in this, so I'll put that one on top of the other. And then we have one in pink. Now, do I still have, yep. All right, so there's a story about this bad boy. I got this from Replacements down in North Carolina. They had it listed, and they identified it as Royal China. And it sort of is, because that's who started it, but that's not who finished it. Okay, so, and I've gone to them. I didn't buy it and didn't have it shipped. I actually went there. My parents lived nearby. So I went there with the book, and I spent some time talking to the manager about mislabeled stuff, because this is not the first piece of Folckemer ware that I have seen at Replacements, but they still insist on calling this Royal China, which is, you know, that's their prerogative. So here we go. I kept the stamps on. So we have the back stamp, and then we have their stuff. And as you can see, it says Currier Ives Pink by Royal USA. Very interesting. It's wrong, but that's just the way it is. So, and you can see they say bowl candy 7-inch, which if you look, this is when you're talking about the original piece, that's exactly what it was. It was a candy bowl in Hostess in blue. So, you can find these things in all sorts of places. And this group, the bowls, are very hard for me to get. Again, I only have 6, and I have a duplicate. Whereas on the others, I have a lot more. 40, 42 of them, I think. So, because of the rarity of the original Royal Hostess candy bowl, these guys are hard to come by. All right, what's next? Well, next up are saucers. Now this is interesting. Look at this. Very nice. And they put a more elaborate back stamp on these guys. And again, there's the stilt mark right there. There's the USA. There's a stilt mark right there as well. Anyway, beautiful, classic. And this comes in the 5 colors as well. I only have 4 of them. So I've got the blue, the brown, the black, and my favorite, the green. So no pink here. So I need a pink. Now, that's interesting that we have different back stamps. So the blue is different than the others. Everybody else follows this group. So I do have some other saucers, same design in Fair Oaks. And here they are. So what is interesting about this is that we're talking about multiple colors here. So, and this is Dave and Deb's favorite print. They are Fair Oaks fanatics. That is their favorite set. So the fact that they actually experiment with this is pretty cool. And though they may look the same, all 5 are different. Because what we have is the lady and the gentleman are all changed around. So in this case, yellow dress, blue blazer, and a red vest, where on this side, blue dress, brown blazer. So there's minute differences. And this is the back stamp. My thinking is this might have been for a wedding. I don't know, because we have an extra back stamp. The C inside 2 triangles to make that hex design. They're all the same as far as the back goes. All right, transition time. Okay, so just like the other things I've shown you so far, the dessert plate, the candy bowl, and the pie baker, Dave and Deb also did regular Hostess cake plates. I only have 1 of their work, unfortunately for me. I have a pink one. Well, it's not unfortunate for me that I have the pink. It's unfortunate I don't have but 1 to show. They made this in green, blue, and I believe black and brown. So, all the colors. I don't know if there are other designs. I'm assuming there are. So I don't know the situation. But again, here we go. So you can see when Royal was making this, this could have been used with a footed stand. There's the back stamp with the F, and then again, stilt marks are on the inside, right there and right there. Third one's here versus on the outside. Beautiful. So I'd love to get this in green, but gorgeous nonetheless. All right, so what's next? How about a large salad / pasta bowl? Okay, here's Royal's chef salad bowl. Beautiful. So this is 11 3/4 wide by what, 3 3/4 deep. Your typical salad bowl. And here's what the Folckemers did. So again, issue with slope on the sides. So they just did something down here and no trim. At least on this, what I have, all my bowls look the same, just here. And then again. And again, here's the stilt mark, and stilt mark. And again, I will compare that to the Royal piece. Stilt marks here, here, and there. So that's the difference. Whenever you see a piece of Royal china, what's made by Royal, it's going to have any edges. This is true of plates, pie bakers, everything. It's all going to be on the edges. Whereas the people who did what Dave and Deb did is they're going to stilt marks are going to be more closely grouped. Okay, so I only have a few of these. So there's that one. I only have 5, 2 in blue. Here's my other blue. Looks like this one got used. I got all of my bowls, these bowls, all 5, off of eBay. And again, there's back stamp. So I have 1 in brown. Is that going to stay there? That's dangerous, isn't it? Of course, Christmas snow in its green. Perfect. Let's move Mr. Brown out. Put that one there. And the last one's also in green. Love that print. Rather plain, but again, they had a tough time with the slope. So now I don't know this for sure, but I'm assuming that they probably did the same thing with the big salad bowls that they did with the dessert plates. And that is, they probably have 7 designs in 5 colors. So there's a potential for 35 bowls out there in this series, just like they're 35 for both the candy dish and the dessert plates, and probably the regular Hostess cake plates as well. So a lot of potential. I don't know that for sure. I'm just guessing that's the case. So what else do we have? Well, we have some egg plates. We have some Currier Ives pie bakers. And then we have some interesting other pieces. So let's go for the pie bakers. Yeah. All right, so here we are, pie bakers. This is another area I'm not sure how many they made. There are a lot of multicolor ones out there that I have not been able to get. Early on, I had a chance to get a couple. And again, I wasn't very smart about it and didn't get them. From the source, could have gotten them from the source, and just didn't do it. And I guess, I don't know why, but you know, then buyer's remorse, or is that the reverse, buyer's remorse? I didn't buy. They're now getting very hard to get. Now, I'm assuming there are going to be several different patterns, probably 7. In just the plain, I only have 4, so just 4 pie bakers. But you can see this is gorgeous, and it really matches well with what Royal did. And at least on this application, they were able to solve a slope issue. I don't have the maple sugaring one. So the maple sugaring one is one where they found a lot of the bisque already done, printed, but not with the final layer of glaze. And that was the first thing that they did, is they went ahead and glazed it, and they did not put their symbol on it. So when you're looking at pie bakers and you find a maple sugaring one, you need to look at the stilt marks. If you find stilt marks on the inside, then you know it was done by them. If you find stilt marks on the outside, it's a Royal piece. And I have 3 maple sugaring pie bakers, but they're all made by Royal China. None of them were made by Dave and Deb. So there we have that. And my expectation is that Royal would have, if they were stayed in business, they would have kept on producing the pie baker series, and you would have seen these designs moving forward. Kind of weird to see Christmas snow, which you expect to see in green, in blue. It's not bad though. So I fully would have seen both of these, I think, in the coming years. And again, I really like this print. This is one of the harder ones. If you find this particular pie baker that Royal produced with a different border and the associated cake plate or platter, those are some of the harder ones to find out there. And you can see they might have experimented also with their blue, because you can see the difference between those two. The one on top is bluer. The one on the bottom is a little more darker. And it's kind of, you know, I guess it's hard to figure out formulas and stuff. But gorgeous. One of the other interesting things is they were able to acquire the 1987 stamp for the calendar plate. So they were able to produce this. This is one of their early ones. And you can see, at least on the example I have, this is pretty faded. But 1987 calendar plate, pretty cool. So Royal did calendar plates, 69 and 70 in green in Currier knives. And then they had nothing in 71 and 72. Then they started doing the blue in 1973, and it went all the way up to 1986. They did not produce a 1987 plate, but they were going to. So the stamp was available, and Dave and Deb created the 1987. Very cool. All right, here we go. Egg plates. Everybody's favorite. See, this is going to be a toughie. I'm struggling with doing the video here because it's something I don't normally do. And you can see, because of the design of the egg plate, you see the overhead ring light. So my apologies there, but what can you do? So here we have Washington's birthplace as the scene in the center of this egg plate. This is different than what we normally are looking at. We're looking at a hostess egg plate and with a different scene, and that is, you know, the holy grail for some people. But they decided to put this scene in. This is a very heavy plate, by the way. Very heavy. And again, back stamp. I think Royal was going away from the hostess, and they were experimenting. This egg plate mimics some of the other ones that were out there, the rooster one, and a couple others. But I think they were going to a new version of this, because again, this is very heavy, and that's this version. Same size overall, but this is much lighter than this guy. The area here for the pattern is skinnier than this one. This one's bigger. This is also very deep ring. This is very shallow. And on this guy, the spots for the eggs are also more shallow versus this one. And on the back is also structured differently than on this one. See a little spot right there. There it is. I'm not sure what that is, some kind of manufacturing spot. I'll look on the other three there, or the two I have. So I have one like this, and then I have three of these, all with the same scene. So again, I believe that there are egg plates out there that there might be all 5 colors in all 7 scenes. So again, it's a possibility of having 35 different egg plates out there, just like this. They've also experimented where you saw they had designs here. So there are a lot of egg plates out there. I unfortunately only have 4. So again, this one in brown. And this one also has that little thing in the center. Hard to see it. There it is right there. So that's obviously something to do in the manufacturing process. Put that there. And then here it is in green. And again, struggling with that light. All right, so we only have some smalls left, and then we're done. So hold on. All right, so the last area we're going to be looking at is what I call my smalls. I don't have too many of them, but they're kind of cool and unique. So the first one is going to be this guy right here. This is the new version of the tall creamer, and this is a decal, and this is surprising. This is actually made by somebody else after the fact, because there's no back stamp on it, and it came with a sugar dish. Here we are. And again, no back stamp, there's USA. So I found this in a antique mall in Lewisburg, Pennsylvania, which is about, well, I don't know, maybe not necessarily halfway between where Dave and Deb live and where I live. So, but I showed him this and I said, oh wow, I found a piece of your stuff out in the wild. And it's like, but you didn't put a back stamp on it. And he's like, no, that's not ours. So he thinks it's somebody that was in Alliance, Ohio, who was doing this. So let's do that and put him here. But pretty cool. And again, this is going to be the new standard as far as tall creamers go. So I did get a version from Dave and Deb of the classic Currier knives. So we have the train, and we transition. So the train is driving to the handle on both sides, which is kind of cool. I know sometimes some of the stuff that Royal did, you would find this going this direction, and then it would also be opposite on the other side, which I guess was a mistake. But hard to say, I guess. But that's that. And then the sugar bowl they had is the more classic version. This has some crazing on the lid, unfortunately. But the bowl itself is in pretty good shape. And we have the sleigh ride, which is the same on the gravy boat. So you can see how when they put the design on, it's skewed to one side. So there's too much room here versus here. But that's just how it works out sometimes. And there's that. Just put that there, put that there. Keep that going. All right, so I do have specials, and I have another tall creamer. This one's in green, but it's special because it's where you guys are right now. This is for the 4th annual meeting of the Currier Ives Dinnerware Collectors Club. So coming full circle. Back in 1999, wow. So we have the Rocky Mountains design on here in green. And I'm assuming, because the tradition has been, or was, I don't know exactly the time frame, where they would produce commemorators for each convention. There'd be a blue one. And then there would also be the same thing in red or pink, if you will, and green. And so my assumption is this is a green one that had a bit of a little problem there, but that's not a big problem. So, and I have one last special piece from the same convention, and that is this napkin holder with Washington's birthplace on it. And again, this might have been one where they didn't like it because you can see it seems to be at an angle. So maybe it wasn't put on the way they liked it. Don't know. I don't have the other ones. This was a door prize. And I know it because it says right there in the middle, door prize. And it has the F on the bottom, which Creamer did too. And actually it looks to me like this is not a piece of, so this is not a piece of Royal China because we have DHM and a 1995 stamp there. So this was just a door prize made for the meeting. And that is my collection of work, or I should say items finished by Dave and Deb. And that concludes my presentation of my collection of Dave and Deb's work. I'd like to thank Larry Edens for inviting me to make this presentation. I would have liked to have been there in Peoria with you guys, but circumstances are what they are, so this is the next best thing. I know we're all our worst critic, and I'm not terribly happy with the video. Not something I normally do, and I did struggle with the ring light, so I do apologize to everybody for how that works, but I think you get the idea. It's exciting for me to present it, and I'm always on the hunt looking for more things. So from back in 1999 to currently today, 2022, happy hunting and have a great time at the rest of the convention. Thank you very much.